What is your worst public defeat, loss, humiliating loss you've ever had in your life? What is it? I'm talking people saw it, girlfriend saw it, wife, husband, mom, dad, best friend. What is the worst loss you've ever had in your life? Ready? However bad it was, however painful it was, I guarantee you it is not going to be as painful of a loss as a person losing tomorrow on November 3rd, because while you're watching this is Monday, November 2nd. If you watch it after that, you already know who won and lost, but I guarantee you, nobody is going to lose worse than somebody losing tomorrow. You're talking about two people who've been going at it for God knows how long now. One of them's been a president for about 3 years and, 10 months, and the other one is here coming up after 47 years running for office for the third time. This is the third time he ran for office. One is in the 80s, one is in the 2000s, and one is this time. This is his third try at presidency, and they're both in their mid to late 70s, and they're both going to have one of their biggest losses. It's going to be the biggest loss they've ever had. Not both of them. One of them is going to have it. So going back to you. You know, last week I'm watching a Dodger game. I'm watching a Dodger game against the Rays, and they're up 8-7. It's bottom of the ninth. They're 1 out away. If they take this win, they're going to be up 3-1. They're pretty much going to win the World Series. And boom, a pop-up goes up. Bellinger, Golden Gloves, best guy that's got, an outfield, center field, comes up to catch, drops the ball. Not only does he drop the ball, he throws it in. The catcher doesn't catch the ball, so they don't score 1 run so they can go into extra innings. They score 2, they win the game. Now it's 2-2. Dave Roberts being humiliated by everybody. They ought to fire him, including myself. I even made a comment about Dave Roberts saying if these guys lose this year, he could have taken that pitcher out, put another guy in. Jensen shouldn't been in. I'm the guy criticizing this coach, right? And Dave Roberts to me, obviously I'm an LA guy, so I'm rooting for the Dodgers. I went to Dodger game 2 years ago to watch them beat the Astros in Game 7, and Astros beat the Dodgers, I believe, 5-1, the ugliest games I've ever been in my lifetime. So I said, let me go to this game this time. It's Game 6. They're up 3-2. I go to the game. The Dodgers win the next game. They come back and win the next game. It's Game 6. I'm at the Arlington Stadium, Global Life Stadium. I'm over there, and they're playing the game. 5 innings, Snell is pitching. Cy Young winner, 2 hits in 5 innings. I'm sitting there saying, struck out 9 in 4 2/3. They're taking this guy out. I understand the Rays are all about predictive analytics, the whole Moneyball game. So they take him out. When they took him out, I stood up. I'm like, thank God they're taking this guy out because he was embarrassing all the Dodgers hitters, all of them, right? So they bring out the next guy, get a hit, get a run. We're up 2-1. And then the Dodgers, Mookie Betts hits another home run. They're up 3-1. And then you're watching this game right now, and you're sitting there, and all of a sudden, boom, Julio comes in, pitches the strikeout, pitches another strikeout. Game is over with. The Dodgers win the World Series, right? You realize the Rays had the biggest public humiliating loss of their lifetime, ever. But they went to the World Series. Tomorrow, Trump or Biden are going to have the biggest loss of their careers. Nothing's ever going to be bigger than this as a competitive. I'm not talking about loss of a loved one, brother, parent. I'm talking competitiveness, public loss. It's going to be the biggest public loss they've had tomorrow. But you know what's the one thing Rays, Dodgers, Trump, Biden all have in common? Here's what they have in common. They had the guts to get in the ring at the highest level. They had the guts to not give up at the highest level. They had the guts to be patient. Tiger yesterday said something. I was watching one of his interviews from 2018, and he said, greatness to me is not about how good you can be in one day, in 1 month. Anybody can have a great month. Anybody can have a great week. Anybody can have a great quarter. Anybody can have a great year. He said, greatness to me is when you can be great and consistent for over a decade or 2. He was referencing the greatest of all time in tennis, football, basketball. He was referencing those guys. These guys have been going at it for decades. Trump and Biden are in their 70s. Whether you hate Trump or you hate Biden, regardless of it all, they're competing in their 70s while most people have expected their retirement at 62. Send my Social Security check at 65. I'm hoping to retire and kick back. They're running in their 70s. They're running in their 70s. What's the moral of the story? This whole message came about the way the Dodgers lost. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is I know so many talented, brilliant, perfect, genius guys, capable. You know what prevents them from competing at the highest level? They are so scared of having a public humiliating loss. They are so scared of being humiliated. You know how we sit there, and I'm going to run a podcast next Tuesday, which is tomorrow, and it's going to be on what? On election night, right? Guess what we're going to be sitting there commentating on, giving our opinions on the election. That's what we're going to be doing. You know how many people are going to have opinions about Trump or Biden? Trump wins. Oh, I'm so glad. Get this motherfucker. He deserves it. That's awesome. Great. He's such a loser. Going to call him all these other names. Biden loses. Oh, this is exactly what you get. 47, you just got nothing done. Boom. No matter what, they're going to get that, right? But they're okay with it. That doesn't mean they like it. That doesn't mean they go to sleep next to their wife saying, oh, I'm so happy. That doesn't mean they're going to be okay with their kids seeing their daddy losing in front of 7.5 billion people. But they have the guts to get in the ring and lose and take a punch. Yes, history is going to benefit one person. Yes. History, 200 years from now, no one's going to say, who was second place in 2020 World Series? No one's going to say it. They're not going to say, oh, the Rays. They're not going to say, oh, Snell. They're going to say, Dodgers. Dodgers won it. No one's going to say, if I were to tell you right now, 1964 or 1950, whatever, who was the runner-up against such and such? Who was the runner-up against Kennedy? Who was the runner-up? You may not have a name, but you know who the 16th president is, Lincoln. The point is there is that massive of a recognition for the first place person. It's not 100 times more. It's not 1,000 times more. It's millions times more than a second place person, but at least they got the guts to get in the ring. So I got a question for you. Your worst loss you've ever had. Biggest public loss you've ever had. How many people heard about it? How many people saw it? 5 people? 10 people? 200 people? Maybe 1,000? Let's say 10,000. Is it 7.5 billion? If it's not 7.5 billion or 1 million or 10 million, what are you worried about? It's really not that big of a deal. Use the pain, come back stronger, show up the next week, the next month, the next day saying, I'm going to figure out a way to outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, and outlast, and eventually I'm going to do my part to have my big victories. Because at the end of the day, if you stack a bunch of big losses together, guess what else comes with a bunch of big losses? A massive victory, only and only if you know how to handle a loss. So with that being said, if you're watching this video, I got another video I want you to watch. I did this video, I think, 4 years ago. If you've not watched this video, you may want to watch it. It has to do exactly what I just talked to you about. It's about a video I did titled Good Voice, Bad Voice. It's 3 Patricks talking to one another, the real me, the good me, the bad me, and this is what the conversation sounded like. If you haven't seen it, click over here to watch the video, and if not, have a great day today and enjoy the elections tomorrow.